Ooh, well, you see it and you could hear it. That was the exact moment. 7.3 magnitude earthquake struck just south of Kodiak earlier today. A now canceled tsunami warning and advisory had many in Kodiak on high alert. Were looking to stay safe. People urged to move inland or to high ground immediately after the large quake. Residents in Sand Point saying they felt back-to-back aftershocks in the aftermath.
You know, it took a little while after the earthquake to kind of settle. Like, I just felt a little shaken. And my mom expressed the same thing the whole time we were at her house. She's like, I just feel shaken and just agitated. And, but now I've kind of calmed down. I came home.
Shaken. That was a pretty big one. It's still going.
This is more video from Sand Point. This person was outside when they noticed things around their property shaking, including this large bin of water.
Wow. Nearby, Port Moller also felt that shake.
One man who lives in the area during the summer explained his one-year-old daughter's interesting reaction.
You know, at first she was playing, and then, you know, as it started picking up, she just kind of looked up and then was just still and just stared at us to see what our reaction was going to be. And so we just came over and stood near her, and she just watched us, just frozen. Was kind of curious what she would do in an earthquake situation. She just kind of waited to see our reactions.
It was a scary afternoon for many. It's something we practice and prepare for, but never know when it's going to happen. This is video from Unalaska of people trying to get to safety and higher ground.
Now, this video also from Unalaska. After the warning was canceled, boats that had been waiting offshore started to make their way back in. While the threat from the tsunami is over, the ground is still shaking as aftershocks continue. The Alaska Earthquake Center says that is to be expected.
Fully expected for an earthquake like this to have continued activity over the coming days, weeks, and even months. We expect the vast majority of those, if not all of those earthquakes, to be smaller in size.
This is video from the Tustamina ferry as the tsunami sirens were going off. The captain made sure to check his surroundings and make any possible adjustments and proceeded with caution. Here's what he had to say to Alaska's news source.
We continued out into deep water. They recommend to get in at least 180 feet of water. I shoot for 200, but we left Kodiak via the north entrance channel and went to Menasca Bay, just to the west of the entrance channel.
The captain says there was nobody on board today and everything went smoothly. He's glad things are in place for people to quickly respond and make it to safer conditions. As many people argue, it is better to be safe than sorry. Jackie Purcell is in the Weather Center and has been following this all day. She's here to give us more info.
That's right. We're going to talk about that magnitude. But the folks that took action upon hearing the warning and then subsequent advisory, good for you. It is best to go rather than be complacent in such a serious situation, no matter how many times it may have happened with little or no impact. Simply put, you never know. So we have had some big storm action surrounding the area of the earthquake. Earlier, as we mentioned, those tsunami warnings downgraded to an advisory and now dropped. But let's take a look at what the earthquake that generated all that action amounted to. It was a pretty good one at 7.3. The depth was 12 miles, and it happened during that lunch hour. So it was closest to Sand Point. And that magnitude 7.3 earthquake, as far as those aftershocks, between 3 to 3.9 magnitude, there's been about 12, 4 to 4.9, 10, and the larger ones, 5 to 5.9, there's been 4. So you can see why people are still kind of rattled. But during a tsunami, this is during a tsunami, if you're in that hazard zone and receive an official warning, stay out of the water, away from beaches and away from the coast. As you could note, you can try to get information from radio, television, or even your mobile device, but it's very important if you're directed to evacuate to move inland and go to higher ground immediately. Now, back in Anchorage, we've had a pretty nice evening. 61 degrees is our current temperature. The winds, they are up, though, 16 to 28 miles per hour. And in Fairbanks, the interior city, seeing a temperature of 69 degrees, winds north-northeast at 8 miles per hour. Look at our mostly dry Thursday. Scattered showers, very scattered into the interior. A few more cloud coverage and increased showers on Friday, but it looks as though we're going to see that move on, and we'll have a pretty nice start to our weekend. Here's a look at our high temperatures for Fairbanks, Anchorage, Juneau, as well as Bethel. Anchorage at 66, Fairbanks into the low 70s with some sunshine there. We'll have that sunshine showers kind of mix here locally. We'll have more on the forecast coming up a little bit later.
All right, Jackie, thank you. And, Jackie said it's so important to take action when you hear that warning. Some people took different courses of action. It was still business as usual for one Kodiak woman.
When the major earthquake struck this afternoon, she stayed put.
I didn't panic. I was pretty much calm. It was not a big deal because our house where we are, our property has history. Because we're 70 feet up, off the water, the house that was here before we moved in this area had survived the 1964 earthquake and tsunami. So I just went, okay, let's have lunch.
While other Kodiak residents evacuated to higher ground, Marion knew she wasn't in the warning zone. She tells Alaska's news source that she's had her fair share of experiences with earthquakes and tsunamis during her time in Kodiak.
Still better safe than sorry. And although there was no danger to Homer, the Homer Spit did evacuate after initial warnings went out. Mayor Rachel Lord said it was out of an abundance of caution, especially with more tourists around this time of year.
There is just one road on and off the Spit, which makes moving people and equipment a challenge. Some residents are happy people took the warning seriously just in case.
I guess it's a good exercise. I guess people should really take it seriously when that happens. It's like maybe it might not happen, but, you just never know. When people here in 1964, they take it seriously. So I listen to those guys, right?
And many people were out when all this happened, doing things like having a nice lunch. That includes people at Two Sisters Bakery in Homer. The owners say they tried keeping their customers calm and are fortunate things didn't get worse.
It's better to just err on the side of caution and, get the heck out of here. But because we've been through this so many times and we had so much happening right at that moment, hot soup on the stove, things in the oven, lots going on. We were like, let's just make sure that it's really going to be something before we, just bail on everything.
Homer was removed from the tsunami warning zone just after 1:30 this afternoon.